You hear me?
It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
This is The Oil Stream. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you. Tommy, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
Did you hear that music?
I heard the music. Everything sounds great.
So why did you ask, did you hear me while the music was playing?
I logged in, and I couldn't hear anybody, so I was just checking.
Yeah, because
just trying to be very thorough.
I'm in this spot, and I can't talk to you and all that, so
Okay.
you kind of just rolled right over the intro of this whole show. I love it. It's a Friday.
My bad.
We're live in the Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen studio, where you can get your hands on the Ghost, the pepper chicken sandwich, a game changer on the menu at all Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen locations, plus order on DoorDash, skip the dishes, and add Uber Eats. How was the drive home, Tommy?
It was good. It was a good drive home. Traffic wasn't too bad, and man, it's a busy Friday. Lots to get into, lots of emotions after last night's disappointing performance by the Oilers. Obviously, the result is a loss. And listen, post game, people were pissed off. I like where the general theme of Oiler fans was last night and their mindset. Like, it wasn't just completely ripping into one guy in particular or two guys in particular. Don't get me wrong. There are a few guys we're going to need to discuss about last night's performance. However, it was a general disappointment with the group's effort as a whole. And I like that. And I thought it was a bit refreshing. And it was, the Oilers fans know that this team is supposed to be good and should be much better. But the I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed kind of mantra from the fan base, at least our viewers and listeners last night. I was like, yeah, I'm into this. I get it. And so I'm ready to deep dive after we've had a night to take a deep breath and maybe exhale a little bit and then really get into the minutia of what went wrong last night, because there's a lot.
So where do you want to begin with this then? Like, do we want to start with defense? Let's start with Evan Bouchard maybe.
Okay.
And like, I know during the hangout there was a lot of there's quite a few comments about Evan Bouchard's play. Some people calling him he's being a little too soft. What did you make of Bouchard's? I don't even want to say just his play against the Flyers, but through the first 4 games even.
Soft. He's been soft. He has not been particularly good. The Evan Bouchard that we watched in the postseason and down the stretch last year is missing right now. The Evan Bouchard that we watched down the stretch and in the postseason 2 years ago is missing right now. And what's frustrating, or compounds it, I suppose, is the fact that we know he is more than capable of elevating his level of play. We know he is capable of being harder on the puck. We know he's better at reading and reacting and anticipating what's coming at him in terms of an attack. And it just hasn't been there this year. And, they put him with a Matthias Ekholm who had 0 training camp or very limited training camp. He's trying to get his game back, trying to make sure that his groin and not his hip flexor or whatever the ailment is in that region is up to snuff. So it has put them behind the 8 ball. Now, I think that those guys should be able to overcome those things. I think collectively the team should be able to overcome those things. And quite frankly, they have not. And it's a will, not skill problem right now. And when they put it all together, maybe as soon as tomorrow night, I think, we'll be able to dial it back. But right now, 2 out of 4 games, Matthew, absolute stinker performances. And then you didn't really get a very inspired performance outside of the first 4 or 5 minutes. And then maybe a 15, 20-minute span later in the game last Saturday against the Vancouver Canucks in the home opener. It has people going, what the hell? Why was the Nashville game the exception so far this year? Why is that the one outlier when that performance, that result, and that process has only occurred once out of 4 games?
So, and we talked about this a little bit on the hangout, but those that weren't tuned in, you have a captain skate this year where McDavid brings everyone in. It's this commitment to get off on the right foot, not have a slump to start. You get through game 1, a poor game 1 performance that we all just threw away, but they go and they get a big team meeting on the Thursday following. And then we've seen the performances of 2 of those 3 games. You talked about the Vancouver game at home and then what we saw last night. Why hasn't it clicked in with this team yet? That, that effort and bringing that work to every single game, when that's all we've heard from this team from the start of September is that's what they wanted to do to start this season. Why isn't it clicked into them to actually walk the walk, I guess is the right
Yeah.
saying. They've
It's been all
talked it,
talk.
but why aren't they
Yeah.
walking it?
All talk, no action, really, outside of the Nashville game on Tuesday night. Why they haven't, it's a common theme, I think, early in seasons for this group of Oilers. And Jay Woodcroft uses the term life stage. And I understand what he means by that. So I'm going to use it here. In their life stage as a team, they should not have to walk in or just go into a game with the swagger and knowing that they're skilled and look at what we did last year. Look at what we did 2 years ago. By the way, did you see that the last two Stanley Cup champions were the ones who knocked us out of the postseason? They shouldn't have that at this life stage of this team. But it's still there, and it still lingers in the team's collective mind. It still lingers in the minds of the best players in the world, and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Like, it's still there, and they're getting the shake up, wake up call right out of the gate. And as Jack Cookson said on the Hangout, they're getting every team's fastball. They got Vancouver's fastball twice. They've got the Flyers fastball last night. Nashville isn't a formidable opponent, and I think the Oilers did play with a little bit of more gusto on Tuesday night, but it is stuck inside this group's head. And at this point in their, Jay Woodcroft's term, life stage, it shouldn't be, but it still lingers. Now, we do also know that they dig themselves out of these holes, and it's a very small one at this point. Could it expand? Yeah, absolutely. But do I think it will? Probably not. This shouldn't be the case. It's annoying. It's frustrating. It pisses Oiler fans off. And like I said on the Hangout, why can't the Oilers and their fans just have nice things for 82 games? We know there's going to be ebbs and flows and the peaks and valleys of a season, but we're watching the Golden Knights with a 5-0 record out of the gate. Why can't Oilers fans have nice things? They're frustrated and totally understandable.
If I want to give some optimism to Oiler fans, the Tampa Bay Rays started this baseball season with this unbelievable record. They lost the division to the Orioles. The Yankees last year started the season with a historically great year. Everyone's talking that they're going to be the greatest team ever, and they didn't win their division. So sometimes how you start out of the gate, even if you start great like the Golden Knights, it doesn't mean that's how you're going to finish up. So I guess in that sense, there's still lots of time. But when can we stop saying there's lots of time, though? And I think that's what's frustrating with the fans is that it seems whenever there's expectations around this team, whenever there's a season where there's a little extra hype to them, they come up a little shorter or things just don't go that way. I remember after that 16-17 playoffs, I think it was Frank Saravalli who had them winning the Stanley Cup, and there was a lot of expectation that they would stay as a top team in the West. They'd be a great team, and we know what happens. They missed the playoffs. Things weren't great. There were changes again with this organization. Whenever there's expectations, fans it doesn't live up to that. When do you start getting worried with this team, though, that okay, this season really needs to get going? It's early, but when can we stop saying it's early?
I mean, we need to give it at least 10 games. I know we talk about that Thanksgiving, the U.S. Thanksgiving. Yep. That's kind of when we get a sense of where things are at. But I think about 10 games. These guys have stumbled out of the gate. No denying that whatsoever. If they rattle off wins in their next 3 or 4 games, or they go 3 for the next 4, we pull the dogs back and we go, all right, they're finding their groove. And we might have a nice, calm, cool, collected post game tomorrow if they put together a nice performance against the Winnipeg Jets. And we could go and say, look, they're there. They still know. They remembered. Have they unlocked it? Have they woken up? And kind of the same theme that we had on Tuesday night post game where we were talking about a thorough victory. So I think 10 games gives us a true sense of what this identity is starting to become for this club. And we're 4 games in. I know that it was a little bit harsh during the post game last night when we were listening to the clips from the room. You read some of the quotes from players that we didn't get to their post game press conferences. I think of Derek Ryan, almost a combative type of quote where he's like, well, you guys are saying we're the ones who are going to win or go to the Stanley Cup. Yeah, but your captain and your alternate captain, the alternate captain saying cup or bust, post game last year or postseason last year, and your captain saying, we need to elevate, we need to, like, your best guys. The reason why they showed up early is because you guys are expected to go. So I understand the frustration and the combative spirit. That's going to happen in an 82 game season. But man, I think 10 games will get a better sense of what this group is. And, a great start can falter. Like you mentioned, you pointed out some recent history in other sports. We've seen it in hockey. I remember Buffalo getting off to just an absolutely scorching start a few years ago, and then they completely fell off a cliff. And, we've seen it from a few other teams. But this team, this organization, for whatever reason, is just tied to drama. They never seem to do it the easy way. And it comes back to, why can't they just have nice things?
We all know those people in the world that love drama. They always attract drama, and you always hear about the drama around them. I guess the Edmonton Oilers are some of those people. Forrest, have you looked at their schedule for the next little while? It's not that crazy. Like, it's
no.
Now look, we could sit there and say that the teams they play, they should have won those games, and they're non-playoff teams from last year. But you get the Jets on Saturday, you get the Wild next week, you get the Rangers, you get the Flames. Then you get into the next month, and it's Dallas, Nashville again, Vancouver again, San Jose, Seattle. Islanders, Seattle type thing before they go on a East Coast road trip. It's not that crazy. It's not like there's a murderer's row coming up here. That this team should be able to figure it out in that stretch, wouldn't you think?
Yes, absolutely. And I haven't lost faith, so to speak, in this group or anything like that. And I think, we're seeing some texts come in at the text line 780-218-9999, talking about moves down the line. There will be moves. Absolutely. This team is not a complete roster just yet. Quite frankly, they don't even have enough players. They haven't even filled out a full roster because of their cap situation. And that'll come down the line. But, jumping to pulling the trigger right now is not the right thing. So yeah, like the foreseeable future, even the tough games against the good teams, they should be able to have a puncher's chance at winning. No problem. Not even a puncher's chance. Just a chance at winning. They should walk into every game this year knowing that they can win that night. Now, knowing that you can win every night is different from thinking that you're going to win every night. Knowing that you have a chance at winning every night keeps the hunger in your mind and is the carrot dangling in front of you. And thinking you're going to win every single night is where you stumble out of the gate and lose 4-1 in a listless performance to the Philadelphia Flyers, get absolutely shelled by the Vancouver Canucks, and then follow it up with a mediocre performance at home against those same Canucks where you're supposed to come out guns a-blazing. So thinking it is one thing. I think right now the Oilers are thinking that they should win every game, as opposed to, knowing that they can win every single game.
You could jump into the nasty chat on YouTube, where Joaquin Gage has jumped in to let us know Verstappen 1, Hamilton 2, Norris 3 early in FP1 out in Austin.
Thank you, Gager.
So you're aware of that. Gager's letting us know. You could also text us 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox. Mike texting in, afternoon boys. Positive is absolutely the Oilers are not playing up to standard. Only Vegas is running away. If they were getting beat, playing their game would be more of concern. Tom, you clearly don't have Oilers Plus and watch the drop, as Woody drops a lot of F-bombs and probably struggles not to be in the media on nights like this. But where's Hitchcock to call it to superstars? I don't know if Woody would do that. Someone has to look at the way Dry game took off after Hitch called him out. Thanks from Mike. You have been around Jay Woodcroft for a long time. You've known him since he's been an assistant here in Edmonton with Todd McClellan. What did you make of his post-game press conference, both in the message but also, dropping the F-bomb?
I actually liked it. And listen, I said on, I think, post-game as well as the hangout, like, I haven't heard him swear. That was hyperbolizing. He goes out of his way not to swear, but yes, I know he swears and the drop, all that stuff. And also, I think I was telling Freezerbag, who was texting in earlier, because he said the same thing. Woody does that for effect. Woody is very calculated. He's very aware of everything, all of the surroundings. So when the camera's on, he's playing up to it. It's deliberate. And you know what? When you're an information fiend like Jay Woodcroft, you're analyzing and you're picking and choosing your spots. So, but if you see him in public, he's not dropping F bombs, S bombs. I didn't mind it. Like it's nice to see him show some emotion as opposed to like poking back and needling and trying to be more clever than everybody else.
The one thing on the effect, it's actually funny because yesterday we had Kira Lyons on, who's the head coach of the Nate Oaks women's basketball team, and she talked about how sometimes in for her, she last season tried to get teed up.
Yeah.
Just to try to, for her, it was motivate the team, show I got your back, all of that. So she's aware of when to try to get teed up as a coaching tool. And I think to your point with Jay knowing what's going on, him dropping that F-bomb, he was careful. Like, if that was a normal game, he doesn't drop that. But he was there's a reason he did that. And he went out there with hoping that there would be effect that probably goes into the locker room of this team coming around and figuring out, knowing that it's just hasn't been good enough.
Yeah. You know what's interesting too in this first week and a little bit of the season? This is like the second or third time already that Jay has done something to absorb the heat or to deflect for the rest of the team. You know, when they came back from that 8-1 loss, they canceled the full practice. They had a meeting. Jay was the only one who spoke that day. That was one. That was one. And that was on day 2 of the season for the Oilers. And then now we've got this where he's dropping an F-bomb, and now that's catching attention and taking some of the heat away from his group who laid an absolute egg. So we go into talk about how he's always thinking and cooking something up. This is part of it. And here we are discussing it. We're getting into how often he swears. And don't you know that he swears a lot on camera in the Oilers Plus content? Yeah, I know, but it's working basically, because here we are and we're having the nasty chat getting in on it. We're talking about it on multiple shows on our platform. That's him being an absolute fiend for information and how to try to make things easier for his group, and it's working.
D. White in the nasty chat saying, hit that thumbs up for the YouTube stats. Yes, please. If you're watching on YouTube, thumbs up for us. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talks YouTube channel. We're hoping to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Penner's Pancakes, wasn't Vegas a 16-2-2 to start the Oilers? We're 10-10. It'll all be good, boys. They will figure it out. And Kevin McKenna was hoping they wouldn't. No, Steve, I'll go with that one. As an optimist, I'm thinking maybe good that they go through the struggle now rather than mid or late season. Because one thing is teams do generally, no one goes, as much as we want the idea of no drama around the team, no team ever actually goes a full 82 games without a little bit of a bump in the road.
Yeah.
I guess I think Oiler fans, they'd like that bump maybe not to have been at the start of the season. But if you're going to have it, it's better earlier in the season than later in the season, wouldn't it?
I mean, as long as it's not down the stretch, I suppose. But yeah, better now than maybe in December, like we're used to seeing. And you and I were talking about that last week and earlier this week as well. If anything, yeah, maybe it's a wake-up call. And maybe this embarrassment, let's call it, reminds them that they need to hustle and work. And they're able at this point in their life stage to put a stop to it themselves. They should be able to. I personally, I'm waiting for the Oilers team that just goes out there and stays up there with the Vegas Golden Knights and goes blow for blow with them all season long. Vegas goes in and beats the Maple Leafs on a Saturday night in Toronto. Oh yeah, Edmonton goes in and beats Colorado on a Friday night in Denver. Like, that is the Oilers team I'm waiting for. I don't know if they're ever going to arrive. I mean, selfishly, I like the drama because it gives us this type of day, gives us the night that we have last night, and gets the juices flowing and people are watching and listening. But I personally am waiting for the Oilers to arrive as that legit contender where they're going, hey, the Golden Knights did that. And they're not talking about the Golden Knights publicly, but they're seeing it on TV, or they're seeing it on their phones or whatever, and they're going, "Oh yeah, watch us smack around the Tampa Bay Lightning." Like, that's the team I'm waiting for, and it hasn't arrived yet, Matthew.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Boston Pizza. Watch the Oilers at BP's. $5 off medium pizzas, $1 off tankards of Canadian Coors Light, and $5.50 shots of Fireball, Jaeger, Burt Reynolds, Purple Rain, and Honey Jack. We also are going to have an Oil Stream pregame show tomorrow, 6:30 live right here on EmptonSportsTalk.com, as well as on our YouTube channel. Tommy, you'll get people set for the Jets game. But on Tuesday, when the Oilers are out of Minnesota, you're going to be live at the Capilano Boston Pizzas. You could join the EST crew next Tuesday for Oilers Wild. Tommy, you'll have the pre-post game show live at that Capilano Boston Pizza. Be able to watch, listen, contribute to our shows. So people come watch you do it live, and they could just almost like you'll be in like the zoo, like the glass up around you, and people could just watch how does Tommy do this? How does Tommy get a pregame show and get all that info out there? You could watch it in person at Boston Pizza at Capilano next Tuesday.
Yeah. Please come down. They have a great setup at the Capilano BP, and it's going to be a fun night. And you know what? Throughout the night, I don't know if Cass is going to make it down. I'll have to talk to him. Oh, no, he's not, because he's away. So maybe Gage or Belzy is with me, and you can pump those guys with questions about the team, and they can give you the scoop from a player's point of view. But I really enjoy what we've built with Boston Pizza, and taking the Oil Stream pre and post game show there, as opposed to just an Oil Stream, is going to be pretty neat and fun, I think. So looking forward to that. Certainly come out, BP Capilano Tuesday night for that Oilers Wild game.
Get the Boston Brute. It's just that simple.
Classic.
It's one of only 2 items on their menu from original.
I'm waiting for the deep dish pizzas that Neil from BP is just glowing about. There's 2 on there that I really am excited about. Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know if I've ever really had a deep dish pizza. Like
Man,
a Chicago-style deep dish pizza.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. I don't think I've ever actually eaten one in my life.
It's delicious. You thought pizza was good?
Don't tell me this is better than pizza.
At the right time, you got to be in the mood for it. You got to be hungry.
I see what you did there.
A pizza is a go-to. Yeah.
Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanyk with you here on the Oil Stream. Look, I guess I've become a little bit of a betting man as Mr. Lean. Not as big of a betting man as some people, but if I was a full-on betting man, I would bet that Connor McDavid goes off tomorrow. He doesn't respond from a 0-shot performance lightly, I'm assuming. I'm assuming on that flight back from Philly, that was in his head the entire time of the type of game he had.
Has to be. I mean, he was, I hate to say it, he was a non-factor last night. Actually, he was a negative factor.
That third goal's on him. On the goal. Starts on him.
Yeah. And it's so rare to say it, but we have to say it. He was bad last night. Leon Draisaitl was bad last night. Evander Kane got moved off of that line with those two. And you could make the case that Kane was one of the few guys that, for moments of it, was actually moving his feet, trying to make things happen. Holloway was another guy that you're like, okay, you know what? He's kind of going Fogle a little bit too. But those are not outside of Kane, those aren't the guys that should be driving the bus night in, night out. It's nice when those guys take a game over and the depth actually kind of takes over and gives you one. But usually it's supposed to be 29 and 97, 93, 18. 18 got one last night, but kind of whatever. Yeah, it was bad. Connor McDavid, that giveaway, I think, sums it up. And listen, there were a few breakdowns too after the giveaway, and I didn't like the one that went short side. I don't like how it went short side on Jack Campbell. No, that whole sequence was pathetic. And then Bouchard on the half wall, fumbling and bumbling it, and then playing it soft. Like, Matty Cassian broke it down really nicely last night. He was talking about how Bouchard, after he bubbled the puck, his positioning, even just like where he had his hands to try to get in the hips of the Flyer, it didn't happen. He just kind of let him have a lane and go ahead, take your shot on Jack Campbell. Oh, you beat Jack. Okay, whatever. I guess, I don't know. That sucks. It was so laissez-faire. That's disheartening.
Are you surprised the team's practicing today? Because it's a 5-hour flight from Philly?
Yeah.
5-hour flight. They fly after that game. They get here. They play tomorrow. 1 o'clock, they're coming up. They'll be practicing. You'll head down there. But does that surprise you a little bit that they are hitting the ice today?
A little bit. I mean, I think they should practice because they've been playing like crap. I'll start with that. But usually today would be an off day. I know they get 4 CBA mandated off days every month, but with the late travel, I know you're gaining a couple hours, but it's a long day. You're on Eastern time mode, and it's interesting because they're having traveled with the team for 8 years. Even when you come from back out east to Western Canada, you have a day or two where you're just a little groggy, and today would be one of those days because of the time change. And I know it's minimal and it seems a little bit silly, but you do feel it, and even that's without playing the games and exerting yourself physically. So I assumed today was going to be an off day, and then they would have a full skate tomorrow, and then try to get up for the Winnipeg game. But yeah, they should practice because they have a lot of holes in their game right now, self-induced issues. And so I think it is good that they're practicing. They pushed it back to 1:00. Let's go see what they have to say. Let's go see what they work on. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised to see the schedule when Oilers PR sent it out saying that they would be practicing. Good. Get to work because you're not working during the game. So practice habits lead into games. And if they're going to work today, hopefully that transpire or carries over and transfers over to tomorrow.
Your coach, Tom, in charge of the Edmonton Oilers, what are you working on in practice today? What are you hoping that you'd like to see from the team work on today? Because like what type of drills would you do to work on the work ethic and the compete in the battles? What are you looking for today?
Races, chase that puck down, win that battle. Hey, did that thumbs up show up on the screen?
Yeah, where's that from?
That's weird. I don't know. I did a thumbs up, and that's
what
the
are you
program.
doing?
I'm doing a thumbs up.
Well, why is it? Okay, for those listening on the audio stream, there's like a thumbs up thing popping up. Like, is it your computer?
No.
There it is again.
Okay, we learned something new about this program. You try.
Well,
no,
I
you
don't
got to do it like
think it's
away
the
from.
program. I think is that no.
That's weird.
I think that's you, like your computer.
Okay.
I'm like, because I'm doing the thumbs up and nothing's popping up with me.
Weird.
Now when we say like hit the thumbs up button, you could do thumbs up. But it doesn't do it there. Like, oh, there it is.
This is
I'm
weird.
so confused by this right now.
Okay.
I thought I was seeing something, and I was like, did something pop up in the behind your shoulder? Okay, well, there we go.
Okay, that's different. Okay, let's get back to.
We'll figure out how to
Coach
use
Tom.
that moving forward. But yes, back to practice.
Coach Tom would be doing puck battles, chase drills, speed, up tempo, intensity. People would probably suggest, I haven't looked in the nasty chat, but probably said they need a bag skate. Well, we've discovered that the new bag skate is the one-on-one battle drills and the hard work type of drills and all that. That's the new bag skate, and I would be doing a lot of those. I wouldn't be working on flow drills. I wouldn't be working on D-to-D regroups because they can barely do that right now.
Gager wants you to try a different finger, and I think we know what that means, to see what happens.
I know, but I'm not doing that. There's kids watching.
Just try the thumbs up one more time.
Hello.
It's also backwards.
That's cool. I don't know why, but yeah, that's neat.
It's well, yeah. It seems very random. I don't think it's our program for this. And now I'm a little off when it comes to this. Tomorrow, when the Oilers do take on the Winnipeg Jets, it felt like the plan would have been Campbell yesterday, Skinner tomorrow, and with the way that yesterday played out, it just makes that a lot easier to just go with Stuart Skinner tomorrow, does it not?
Yep. I think you just go to Stu Skinner tomorrow. Let him. He needs to find his game too. And Campbell earned that start last night. They gave him no run support. They gave him nothing in front in terms of defensive responsibility. Outside of the one goal that went short side on him, you know what? I thought he was their best player. So they're going to need both goalies. They're going to need Stuart Skinner. He needs to have more than one start in the first 5 games. So I think Stu Skinner gets it tomorrow night, and I think that's the logical choice. Stu Skinner also a couple of years ago had an excellent game against the Winnipeg Jets where I think he single-handedly kept them alive. It was like a 1-1 game, and it went into a shootout. I think they lost that one in the shootout, if I recall correctly. And then he got sent down not long after that. But it was at a time when Mikko Koskinen, was unreliable, and Mike Smith was banged up. And I thought, that game against the Winnipeg Jets was one where you're like, damn, the goalie gave them something tonight. And it was Stu Skinner. So maybe he has a thing for the Winnipeg Jets, and maybe it's right what the doctor ordered for him to get his season going, have a nice performance, and then maybe the team has a wake-up call and actually gives it more than 60% effort against a Jets team that does still have some weapons despite Velarde's IR situation. They're going to need to play hard tomorrow night.
Is this a situation like it was Tuesday with Campbell, that if Skinner plays well, you go back to him on Tuesday, or do you think there's going to be some sort of plan still moving forward with Wild, then Rangers, and then it's the Heritage Classic on that Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm at the point now where I'm like, I think that they're sticking to whatever plan that they had. Although I think that the second start for Campbell was a deviation from the plan, probably. So if Stu Skinner gives them a good night, would they reconsider him for Mini? Probably. But did Jack Campbell do anything to not deserve his next start? No. And I think we're still in an okay situation with the goalies, outside of the fact that they need 1 or 2 extra saves, and they haven't given them that 1 or 2 extra saves, although they've been put into precarious situations. Although Campbell did make some really nice saves on Tuesday against Nashville. Have to obviously give that some love. But overall, through 4 games, you're like, oh, that could have been saved. Every game outside of Tuesday, you're like, there's 1 or 2 there that probably should have been a save. But at the same time, there was like 3 terrible breakdowns from the forwards down to the defense before the puck even got to either Campbell or Skinner, where it was like, that was ugly, that was ugly, that was ugly. Oh, they scored on the 3rd rebound. Okay, yeah, that was terrible.
Well,
it's been one of those starts.
Well, and I think that's the frustration, though, with, I think, other fans towards the goaltending is, look, I'm not going to put this on goaltending at all. I can't. There's nothing of this 1-3 start that I'm going to point to and be like, the goaltending's the main issue. But the one thing that you would have of criticism of the goaltending, and this would go back to, I think, playoffs last year a little bit, even further, when you need that big save, that highlight reel save, if you will, just to rob someone, it doesn't feel like Oilers goalies give it to this team too often, whereas other teams get those. And I'll go back to that bubble playoffs against Chicago. Mikko Koskinen was fine in those playoffs, but in Game 4, Corey Crawford stood on his head and stole the Blackhawks that Game 4, and they ultimately then won the series because of that game. You don't get that too often from the Oilers. I think Campbell, a little bit on Tuesday, as you've pointed out, made some really big saves in the first on that power play after his 4-1, made including the Scorpion save, a couple real nice to keep him in that one. So maybe there's that, but like what you want is that mistake from Connor McDavid last night, go the other way, but you stop it. And the goaltending bailing out the players in front of them, which hopefully then gets them fired up to play better because your goaltending behind you is saving your behind.
Yeah.
So how did they get to that?
Hard work.
Is that all it is?
Battle drills, waking up. Like, I don't know. Gager, if he's still in the nasty chat, like, I've found that guys can go through the motions of doing all the right things, say the right stuff, prepare the right way. But it seems like there are times where they do that routine, but in their mind, it just doesn't connect. Like, it's like, yeah, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. That's right, to be ready, quote unquote, for the game. But they get to the rink and it's still missing. And I don't. Sometimes it takes getting smacked around to wake up and to re-engage. And it doesn't seem like that's happened yet. It should have after 8-1. But it just feels like they're doing everything you're supposed to. But like, it's like saying it with intention. Or Matt Cassian on the pre and post uses the term intentionality. And I don't think there's been intentionality, as Cass likes to put it.
Okay, so we're getting some info on the thumbs up thing in the nasty chat, people are saying. Casino Dealer J says there's a gesture setting I think you can put your hand up to as not interrupt if you're in the middle of the meeting.
Like if I go to
try
thumbs down.
Yeah, try thumbs down. Does anything come up there?
No.
Okay. Scott Laurie, Redbeard. He goes, I think you
Like
could
this?
raise your hand. He'll do that as well. I'm not seeing anything. And there's the
Right
thumbs
away.
up.
Like, yeah. Nothing.
Go a little higher with your hand, maybe. Can you raise that and see what happens there?
Trying to keep it on screen.
Well, I don't know if that matters because I think it's just your
It's funny.
camera. Because like your check mark when you're the thumbs up button when you do it, it's kind of off our screen of looking at you because we've cropped your video.
Oh, yeah, right.
So
right.
like, I really want to
Weird.
know more about this. Like, but okay,
You're-
even if you're in a meeting, like, what's the thumbs up? Like, I don't get how that helps. That all of a sudden
Me neither.
I would just like it's distracting us right now. How if in your meeting all of a sudden a thumbs up shows up on a video? That's not going to be distracting.
Where's this setting?
I don't know.
I'm turning this crap off.
It's the gesture setting or something like that. So I hope we should be able. We've learned a lot today. Did you hear about what we've learned with the board?
No.
I don't think it's on.
What?
I don't think the board is on, so I can't do it. But like we could put Dusty was like putting like a robot effect and a megaphone effect and a voice disguise over Jay Woodcroft today that he was playing.
Really?
We didn't know how that you could do that, but on the board that sits in front of him right here, like you could disguise people's voices. It was really awesome. We had a fun morning with that today. So
okay, well, I want to learn that stuff when I'm doing pre and post.
If we plug your mic in here and we go through this, like you could be like, we could disguise your voice the entire time. And people like, who's on the audio chat? People be like, who's talking right now? And we wouldn't know. It's been that type of Friday, Tommy. It's been that type of Friday.
It's Friday. It's Friday.
Portions of this hour, if my mouse can get going here. Brought to you by Coolbet Canada. If you're betting the Oilers, you can bet them at coolbet.com. Watch for Edmonton Sports Talk exclusives. Boosts included, only available at coolbet.com. We do have an exclusive right now up at Coolbet that involves two football teams and the Edmonton Oilers. University of Alberta Golden Bears out in Winnipeg today to take on the Manitoba Bison. We have the Bears at -6.5. The Elks are in Winnipeg, take on the Blue Bombers tomorrow. We have their team total at over 18.5 points. And then the Edmonton Oilers to win tomorrow against the Winnipeg Jets. That's plus a 335. That's only a cool bet. Click on the exclusives. Click Edmonton Sports Talk Parlay. It's right there. You could bet that. I know this is the Oil Stream talking Oilers, but for the season finale, for the Edmonton Elks tomorrow, is there anything to care about with, like, I love the Elks, you love the Elks. Is this just, let's finish the season, let's get to the off season?
Yeah, pretty much. Don't get hurt. No big injuries to their stars, Gino Lewis, Trey Ford. You need these guys going forward. And if they could steal one against Winnipeg in the Peg, lovely. But yeah, disappointing year from them. But now we know who the quarterback is going forward. What happens with this organization in the next 5-6 months is going to be vital, because I think there's going to be a lot of movement again. Rick Lawlisher coming in, trying to reset the course for this organization is huge. We know financially they're struggling. Just survive this. Take the good. You didn't have to use 100 roster players like you did last year. You found out who your quarterback is. Stick with this guy, pump him up, but also give him help. Don't put that burden all on him. And then surround him, give him a better O-line as well. There's a lot of work to be done, but at least there seems to be legitimate glimmers of hope. Last year, I think it was fleeting glimmers of hope. You're like, well,
there's a
I
couple
guess
nice
Cornelius.
pieces. Like last year, we walked away and went, oh, Kevin Brown, Dylan Mitchell, and RIP, but Christian Salisbury. We're like, hey, look, they found a couple of pieces. Can they build a team around this?
Right.
This year, we're sitting and saying there's a quarterback, which is kind of important.
That's number one. Number two is you have I know he's interim president, probably, longer term interim president that's trying to reset this. I know ownership of this franchise is a discussion we're probably going to hear more about going forward, how the board handles things, and then what happens with Chris Jones. Is he just the GM? Is he just a coach? When the new president arrives, how does he go about doing things, or she? And but yeah, on the field, just get out of this game clean, try to steal a win, and let Elks fans in the city kind of end a bad season on a good note.
for EST score 19 points. That's it. Come on, Elks. Put up 19 points. That's it. Bare minimum. 19 points.
Aim low and achieve. Hey, Matty?
That's all we have to do. Gager has some more updates. 1 Verstappen, 2 Leclerc, 3 Hamilton, 4 Perez, 5. I'm assuming that's Magnussen, and he says upgrades. So just a further update from Joaquin Gage, our F1 insider, with what's going on out in Austin. Nice response, Tommy. Nice response right there. Kevin, in the Nasty Chat, you could also text us 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox. No, I'm going to start with Corey at work. You guys think teams are going to be scared to play the Oilers? I don't. I think we have I don't think we have any dogs on the roster. We've got good players, but we need some dogs. Oilers are easy peasy right now. Does this team miss a player like Klim Kostin?
This was discussed last night. I think yes. Now, which Klim Kostin showed up night to night or was even given an opportunity to dress because he was a healthy scratch at times, I don't know what that would look like, because I don't think he won over the trust of the coaching staff. I think that's what made it easier to part ways with Klim Kostin than give him multi-years at $2 million per season. So yes, I think that there is a little bit of swagger with a Klim Kostin. He knew when to pick his spots when he got to play the games and when he was playing a semi-regular shift. Whether or not he would get those opportunities, I still have some question marks, because I don't think he won over the coaching staff. But the short answer is yes, but there's layers to that thing. So that's how I kind of look at it. And I don't think that Klim Kostin is the solution either. I don't think he changes everything. I think he helps push things in the right direction at some times, at some certain moments. Like say there was a fight last night or he laid a big hit, maybe that wakes them up. Whether or not he would have been in the lineup, I don't know. I would assume as much, considering that they don't have 23 guys on the roster, but there's also those question marks that come with that. But I think the short answer, and for me, is yes.
So, yeah, but like what you're saying is if Klim Kostin's in the lineup, the Oilers still could be 1-3. He's not the solution that absolutely would have fixed everything that's going on with the Edmonton Oilers right now.
Yeah, because, and I'll remind people, there were nights where he would dress and he would play like 4 minutes. And you're like, where the hell was Kostin? Well, he made a play that the coaches didn't like, and they didn't play him the rest of the game.
Is that what the trust was? Just plays he didn't like on the ice?
Yeah, the little things in his own zone, missing a check, and he couldn't seem to gain any traction with the coaching staff, and he always seemed to be the guy that was the first one to come out of the lineup when they went to like 11-7, or one of the first.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem like he ever won over the coaching staff.
One lineup change we saw yesterday was on the blue line, Desharnais in for Broberg. What did you make of Desharnais' play? Like, look, and that might be tough because everyone was bad yesterday. Like, overall, the team wasn't there. But what did you see from Desharnais?
Well, let's start with a positive. The PK went 4 for 4. Power play gave up 1, so they're still -1 on special teams, which is hideous. But he played 15 minutes last night. He was on the PK, so I suppose we can absolutely say he had a hand in helping to kill off those penalties, because that is kind of his forte. Is he fast, fleet of foot? No. How did he play that 2-on-1 when Brett Kulak got picked? Not great. But I don't think he was the worst of the Oilers' problems. He does need to play. There is going to be a rotation between him and Broberg unless one of those guys really takes that spot from the other guy. And, Broberg hasn't really yet. Broberg is the guy with the high-end potential, whereas Desharnais has more of a ceiling that he's kind of already butting up against. So I think we have to understand that Desharnais and Broberg, there is that rotation that the team has kind of implemented until one of them really just takes the reins with this 6th spot and runs with it. So he's going to have to get his looks. And I suppose you would want to use him against teams with really good power plays, but we're so early in the season that you just want all of them up and running and not a lot of guys sitting around. They only have the one extra player anyway. So if Broberg is playing tomorrow and Desharnais isn't, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just put it that way.
So a rotation, then that leans heavily more to Broberg than Desharnais.
I would think so. I mean, they want Broberg to take the next step, and the way you do that at the NHL level now is for him to play games. And I know they don't want to develop guys at the NHL level now, but you have committed to Philip Broberg right now, so he's going to need to play unless he's so dog crap that you can't trust him to play him. Yeah, that's kind of where it seems like it's at.
Is there a point where they're going to try to force Ekholm with him?
Yes. And I don't even think this is going to happen this year because you're going to have to figure out Nurse and Bouchard and where they fit, allowing you the opportunity
To do that?
play Broberg with Ekholm. And quite frankly, a guy who's been a steady Eddie for his time as an Oiler, Brett Kulak, through 4 games, has not been there yet. He's struggling. Like even Kulak's struggling, and I think it's a testament to where this team's at or where it's not at.
Portion of this hour brought to you by One Putt Virtual Golf. Brand new facility that features 6 TrackMan bays, the same technology the PGA Tour uses. Perfect spot for group events, birthday parties, Christmas parties, and also an Oiler game. Located 6816 178th Ave, north end of Edmonton. Kid-friendly place with free arcade, complimentary snacks, and a large selection of those adult beverages. I know you were talking with them at the Mixer on Tuesday, and you have a Sunday group with your family. You're just trying to get out there for the winter, get the swing going.
Gazzola boys, Sunday. Yeah,
This
we
Sunday?
like to do that.
Or not
No,
yet?
no,
Oh,
not
okay.
this Sunday.
I thought.
On Sundays, we generally like to get it going, but my parents are dealing with some stuff. So my brother, I think, is good. I talked to the group from One Putt. They're awesome, Maddie. They're a married couple that's our age that loves golf, loves video games, and created One Putt. And they have a great space for it. They have free arcades, and it's like the classic games we grew up loving. And they have deals. I think it's half price for kids. Double check on their website, oneputt.ca, the number 1, and then putt.ca. So they want to encourage youth golf as well because they are big golfing fans. They love to golf. It's a neat spot. So lots of room. You can get your beverages, food, all that good stuff. And that's going to be our go-to spot. And also say it's packed at One Putt and we don't sign up in time. There's only 1 or 2 options relatively close to the north side, but they're, I think, going to be the go-to destination for the north side.
Have you ever spent a lot of time in a winter at a sim?
Just the Gazzola Boy Sundays where we play a full round. So 4 hours, 5 hours sometimes.
Like you've done this over the past, you've gone in the winters and spent a lot of time in the sim?
Last year was the most I've ever done it, and I love it.
It's nice.
It's just, it's fun. You keep the swing loose, you work on hitting the sweet spot on your clubs, and then, at the same time, you have a couple of swing lubricants, aka alcoholic beverages, and you have your TV, you watch a game that's on a Sunday afternoon. I really just enjoy it, and it's a good chance for us, my dad, my brother, and uncle to just get together, and it's kind of like a day on the golf course, minus the cold weather in the throes of winter.
It's a great way actually to get through a winter because one year at a different place, me and a buddy, we bought a big hourly pack for the year. And we would just meet up every couple weeks and go golf. And when it's miserable outside, but you walk into a place to swing the club, it feels great. You just feel wonderful. Now, do you dress up in golf clothes for it, or do you just stay casual?
I stay casual. I'm not wearing golf. I'm not wearing
You're not putting the golf pants on and the golf shoes and all that?
No. I'll wear joggers or whatever and a t-shirt but I'm not dressing like a bum either. I'm not going in sweats but just comfortable clothes. You go for it's Sunday, it's casual, and you don't want to look, I don't know, grubby or anything like that. You just go comfortable, look nice, swing the club. You know what's weird too? Bringing your golf bag out when it's so cold outside. It's you almost feel like you're fighting it, and you're like, this isn't right, but it's a lot of fun. And the best combination for me is a hockey game on the TV, cold beer on the table, and you're grabbing the big stick for a drive on, one of the tee boxes on the sim.
Legit, it is a great way to pass the time through the winter. And then when the new season comes for outdoors, you kind of got the swing a little bit. Now, there's a little bit of extra rust you got to shake off because it's not exactly a perfect, transition.
You're never going to match conditions.
No.
Yeah.
But the swing, at least, and like the driver and the iron play, and just getting the motion of the body going. You don't have to figure that out, and it's just wonderful. So it's one putt virtual golf. It'll be a great spot to spend your winter. You can watch Oilers. You can keep your swing going, and next year you're gonna be breaking 80s, everyone. That's the Matt Iwanyk guarantee, not the one putt virtual golf guarantee. That's my guarantee. If you go to the sim all year, you're breaking 80s all of next year. Do not hold me to that.
That's more than Mr. Lean. I'll tell you that much. I wish that was the case, but you don't have the soreness, or you know what? You don't have to be a golf dork like us, and you could just go and have a good time.
Hey, sometimes just basically making it like I was with what they do, just make it like top. Just go to the driving range, swing the club, and just see what you can do. It's a lot of fun with that. Tomorrow, Jets in town. As I mentioned, it is 6:30 for the Oil Stream, a pregame show with yourself, and the YouTube Trev will be by as well. What are you expecting from this Oilers team tomorrow in the game against the Jets?
I wish I could say I know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I don't, considering what this team has shown us through 4 games. I want to see a better effort. I want to see hustle. I want to see hard work. I want to see foot speed. I want to see intentionality. Do I think I'm going to see all of those things? I have my doubts, but I feel like we're going to get a better performance. You can only embarrass yourself so many times to start a season, and these guys need to rattle their own cages and get their ass in gear. And I think, there's a better chance we see that tomorrow night than another dog of a game like we saw last night and last Wednesday as well. So I'm expecting better things, but I want to see those little things: hustle, grit, determination, a level of competitiveness that we've only really seen once this year. Go out and earn it.
What do you think we're going to get from the Jets? Have you watched much Jets this year? Have you been able to tune into their games?
Just the highlights. Yeah. I think we're going to see. I mean, the Jets seem like the same team. They have high-end skill.
Also 1-3
whether or
on the
not
season.
It shows up. Yeah, also 1-3, also not performing. They can kill you, and they have a thing for the Oilers for whatever reason. They love playing against them and being a thorn in the side of the Oilers. So I expect a battle, and you know what? If the Oilers can wake up early, I don't know if it's a big hit, maybe a fight, lovely. Just get your ass in gear quickly. Make sure all 20 guys are buying in, and then go out there, and that's when your skill takes over, is when you're putting in the work. And that should be the recipe for success, but it's not going to be easy tomorrow night.
The one thing the Jets have going for them, Huss is going to be in town.
Huss is going to be in town. He's going to be, I think we're going to do a rink report with Huss and then hopefully get him on the pre and post game show as well, or pre-game for sure.
I'm supposed to go for drinks, I think, with him today. He did text me. So I think you got hockey.
Yeah, I have hockey tonight. So, first one of the year.
If you happen to cut loose a little earlier, I'll let you know where we are. Otherwise, you'll have to hang out with him tomorrow. Also tomorrow, Hello Hockey coming up at 10 o'clock. You and Sean Bell. What do you guys have cooking on the show tomorrow?
Dave Pagnotta, as always. Paisan will stop by, and he's our NHL insider, obviously. And then working on a few things. I want to get to someone from Chicago, have some friends out there that cover the team, kind of give us a sense of what life is like with Connor Bedard in Chicago. And then Belzy's always got something on the go, so I have to touch base with him. But Hello Hockey, it's a fun 2 hours. Join us. We go all across the hockey world. It's not an Oilers show.
You guys get angry.
Refreshing.
When somebody brings in an Oiler question or something, you guys get angry.
Yes, we do. And don't take it personally, but it's just the focus is other teams and other leagues and stuff like that.
Well, let me ask you right now then, what outside of the Oilers right now, what's the biggest story in hockey for you?
I'm pretty micro-focused on the Oilers right now. I'm enjoying the Bedard stuff. I think that's about it. Honestly, I'm so dialed in with the Oilers. Like
I think they're
Heritage Classic. Like it's taken over.
Well, I think the Oilers actually, in the end, with their start of the season and with all the expectations, might kind of be the story of hockey. Like that's not a local thing for us. Like we might, sometimes we're in our bubble here in Edmonton. But I think with the Oilers getting to the start that they have, with the players they have and the expectations, this is kind of a little bit of a story, I think, in hockey of, okay, what's going on in Edmonton and why are they starting off 1-3?
Mm-hmm. Although, you know what, from an Oilers standpoint, you could look at the standings and be like, they're not really falling behind outside of Vegas. So nobody's running away with it except for the Golden Knights and the Avs right now.
8 points behind the Golden Knights already. But the Oilers have a game
Yep.
in hand. They have a game in hand. You want to try that thumbs up again as we wrap up to see if that... Let's give that... Look at that.
There it is.
Look at that. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching this YouTube channel. Give us a subscribe. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of the Oil Stream. Tommy's got Hello Hockey coming up tomorrow with Sean Bell at 10 o'clock, and then he's back on the air 6:30. Oil Stream, a pregame show, and he'll be back with the postgame show. So we got you covered with Oilers tomorrow. We got you covered with hockey tomorrow. Also the Pipeline Show. We've got the Gridiron Podcast. We've got the Raceline Radio tomorrow. Tonight, right here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can listen to MCTV, the podcast from Mark Mageau and Corey Graham, and that'll be followed by the Elks Call. Our friend Catherine and Scout, they'll be on at 8 o'clock, MCTV at 7 o'clock. That wraps up another live day right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. As is tradition on this show, again, the thumbs up right there. Tommy, take us away.
Like, share, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, please and thank you. We're closing in on 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Absolutely tremendous. If you're listening, drive safe on your commute. Have a lovely weekend. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Have a good one.